When is it necessary? Let me rephrase. When is silence necessary? When dealing with debt collectors. When is silence necessary? When dealing with debt collectors. Foresight here once again. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is, if you're into that thing, is having a, getting ready to have a real good holiday. Or whatever time of the year that this video is being viewed. I hope, if you're having a birthday, I hope you're having a good birthday. If you're having, just a plain pleasant day, I hope, but all in all, I hope you're doing well. This is not legal advice. I do not offer legal advice. If you like legal advice, if you like financial advice, I suggest you find yourself a competent professional. And by all means, please be advised. What I am about to say here is strictly for entertainment purposes, if that's your thing, but it's mainly for educational and informational purposes only. And the views and opinions is of me, Foresight, and it's not the views and opinions of any platform that hosts Blind Intelligence. Now, like many of you, I know we all know, and we've all heard, that silence is acquiescence, right? I'm not here to debunk that myth. I'm just trying to use, but we want to use it in a different instance, right? We want to use silence differently in this, and change our perspective on it. Because silence is not the enemy. The debt collector's abuse is. That's what the takeaway of this of what this lecture is. The debt collector is the enemy. It's not the silence. So, but my question is that when is silence necessary when dealing with debt collectors? Nobody touches that. Nobody want to touch that. Because silence is necessary in certain cases. Because watch this. Telephone ring. Debt collector. Right? Depending on what you say, you can start the statutory limitations. I don't know if I'm trying to get that right. You're starting the statutory limitations all over again. What is the statutory limitations in your state? What is the statutory limitations in your state? Is it 3 years? Is it 7 years? What is it? On the statutory limitation on collecting on a debt, let me be clear. That is something that you need to know. And if you don't know that, I feel sorry for you. You should know that. What is the statutory? All you got to do is do a Google search. What's the statutory limitations in the state of New York? What is statutory limitations in the state of Michigan? What is the statutory limitation in the state of Alabama? And on and on and on. All of them, they're different. So where you reside, you need to know what the statutory limitations on collecting on a debt is. See this, and this is the reason why I say it's important that you know what your rights are when you're dealing with these debt collectors. These debt junk buyers, they prey on your fear. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today about how they don't buy. They're not really buying your debts. They're buying fear. They really buying fear, because when they pick up that piece of paper, they know that person. If they go after this person, they know that person is probably going to be scared, and that's how they make their bread. That's how they make their bread. They plan on your fear. This is the reason why I say understanding what the consumer laws are, understanding what the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is, understanding what TILA is, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You know what I'm saying? Understanding the United States the United States Code, the United States Code annotated, the Uniform Commercial Code. All of these laws is very important for you to know. Why would you need an attorney to interpret this stuff for you? Well, sometimes you do need because of legalese. You know, you got to have a Black's Law dictionary, because the wording in those, a lot of times, most of the time, a lot of the wording in there is different. You know, for example, like the word may. I know I'm digressing, but listen, but I want to give an example why it's important that you know these things. But like I said, just like the word may, the word may mean a whole lot of different things when it comes to the law. You know, you got to understand this. Understand what that word means. And sometimes you got to go to a Black's Law dictionary. You know, you need to go to some type of legal dictionary in order to get the definition of that word. You cannot pass it up. If you pass it up, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. If you pass up anything, you're going to lose. Every word that was put in there, every phrase was put in there for a mathematical reason. Man, I'm tell y'all something. David Wynn Miller. Go read. You need to look at his information on grammar syntax. Syntax grammar rather. That syntax grammar, heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. That is, I mean, when I looked at his interview, and I looked at his interview when I first heard of David Wynn Miller, I was looking at High Frequency Radio, and Yusuf L, the host of that platform, was interviewing David Wynn Miller, and he was going in on that. That cat, man, I mean, then he got some videos on YouTube, and you have to, and I'm telling you, he broke down a lot of things. He broke down a lot of things dealing with the law. But I don't want to go too far. I'm not going to go too, let us come back towards the land. I don't want to go too far deep off into the water. Let's come back. But understanding what your rights are, understanding what the law is. You can do this on your own. This what this whole thing is about. And you don't have to worry about getting some attorney or someone to interpret this for you. Because I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna close out this conversation because I know I'm digressing. They say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So pick up a book and read. I suggest you do that. Pick up a book and you read this information. They're not playing with you. They don't care. You go to, like, these debt collectors, they're going to walk right over you. And you're going to always be, this is why you always going to be losing in court. Because number one, you're going to go in there, you're going to automatically go in there and you're going to be arguing and you're going to be in dishonor. That's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go in there, you're going to be in dishonor. But when a debt collector calls you on the phone, right? See, when the debt collector calls you on the phone and you understand what your rights are, silence ain't a bad thing. Silence is a good thing. Versus you going to court. See, I'm not mixed up. I'm just trying to compare the two. Because silence is acquiescence when you go to court. That means, you know what I'm saying? You agree without protest. You agree without protest. You acquiesce due to your silence. So the judge automatically takes that as you agree automatically. Boom. But when a debt collector calls you over the phone, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times your silence can work in your favor. Telephone ring. Yeah, hello, how you doing? Hey man, how you doing? What's going on, bro? You doing all right? Debt collector. Me. Yeah, I'm fine. Who is this? Oh, my name is Tony so and so from so and so collection agency. Am I speaking to Foresight? And what is this phone call regarding? Well, it's regarding that you owe $1,000. Now watch this. Now, what if you did owe $1,000? What if let's say I'm gonna use me for example. What if I did owe $1,000 and I get the call and they say you owe $1,000. This is your debt. Or is this Foresight? I'm gonna hang the phone up. Hang the phone up. Silence sometimes can work in your favor. And you have to distinguish when to use it. You got to distinguish the difference between how to use it and when to use it. It's a difference. How to use it and when to use it. Because you may start that statute of limitations, that clock over. If that debt collector calls me and it's been in the statutory limitations in Mississippi is 3 years. The statutory limitations of collecting on a debt is 3 years. in the state of Mississippi, and let's say it's coming up to the 3rd year, December, that's when you're going to get inundated with calls. You're going to get inundated with calls. If you ever notice that, that's when you get inundated with calls. A lot of times it starts in November. But November, December, you're going to get inundated with calls if you owe something. Letters too. Because if that third year is coming up, right? They know that they can't collect on that debt. But even, let me say this now. Hold on. Check this out. Don't start jumping for joy and trying to do high kicks and everything of happiness. Because I'm going to tell you something. Them suckers will go over the statutory limitations. And they will. And they can. They do whatever they want to do. And the thing about that is, if it was 4 years in, and they gave you a call, is this foresight? Yes, it is. Do you owe $1,000? Yes, I do. Who is this? Oh, this is so-and-so from so-and-so speaking on behalf of creditor. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, boom. You done started over. You done started it over. But so, you see what I'm saying about silence? Why is it necessary? This is the reason why I say silence. You have to know the difference. When to use silence and when not to use silence. Because like I said, silence creates a presumption and assumption. Silence. But silence also can prevent the law being the statutory limitations of collecting on the debt. That law being that law being that clock being reset. That it stops that law from being used. It stops that. It puts that law in its. It stops that law in its tracks by being quiet. Close your damn mouth. Take your foot out your mouth. This time you need to take your foot and put it in your mouth. You know, like somebody's going to say, you just put your foot in your mouth. In this instance, you need to put your foot in your mouth. Think about what I'm saying. Because if you're silent in this instance, the statutory limitations on collecting on the debt, they can't start that clock over on you. But one thing I want you to understand, when you dealing with these damn debt collectors, you must understand one thing, and that is these debt collectors play on your fear. This is where they make their money. It's a $2 trillion business. Trillion with a T, not billion with a B. Because they know that because they know people fear the courts. They got this thing going on in the courts. You got the bailiff there trying to be very intimidating. And also the judge. You don't answer me no questions. I don't answer questions. I ask the questions. You just answer. You don't ask me no questions. And just be real harsh. They speak real harsh on you. They act, like there's some type of God or something. You're like on TV. You got somebody speaking down on you. You don't ask no questions. I ask questions. You see, but that's the games that they play in the courtroom. But that's their thing. It's just this is about you not even this right here should never ever get to court. Everything that I'm saying to you about this, let me tell y'all something. It should never get to court. If you're answering correctly and you're answering within reason, this stuff should never get to court. I already talked about validation and verification. Validation. 15 USC 1692G. When you're dealing with them debt collectors. Because and that's something that they'll never do. Because they got an assignment. If they was assigned the thing and they don't have all the documentation, okay, so what does that leave you? Oh, they'll leave you in the driver's seat. Because they ain't going to have a copy of the contract. You honestly think they're going to have that creditor is going to fork over that information? No. They're not going to fork over that promissory note that you signed. Shoot, they probably ain't even got it. That promissory note's probably gone. It's probably on somebody's stock market or something. Because now, according to the information, which you need to go read it, when you sign a promissory, any promissory note that has a maturity for more than 9 months, is not a promissory note. It is a security. Remember that. Remember that. I learned that from an old guy named Gene Keating. But I did my due diligence and I looked it up. It's a fact. That's a fact. If it has a maturity for more than 9 months, it's not a note. It's a security. And you have to understand why I'm bringing this up. See, I'm bringing this up because, like, when them debt collectors come at you and you ask for that promissory note, know where that promissory note is. They ain't gonna have it. Put up or shut up. Put up or shut up about this damn promissory note, because it's either you have it or you do not have it. If you don't have my contract, we ain't got nothing to talk about. You can't validate this debt. Oh, what they gonna do? Send you invoices of your information? That don't wash. That don't wash. Send me a copy of that promissory note. Send me a copy of that contract. And then, on top of it, you send me a copy of the contract that you got with Mr. Creditor. Now, I just icing the cake for you, right? I baked the cake, put it all together. Now I just icing the cake for you. Now your cake is complete. The cake made. Now your cake made. Now you got a cake. So what we talking about here? If I done told this before, if you owe a creditor and you ain't got no notice that creditor is not going to come after you, or that debt collector don't send you no type of information that they're going to be the collector in fact, man, I ain't listening to them. Because documentation is the key to all of this, because it stops you from it stops them and you. It stops the presumptions. It stops the assumptions. Because the creditor, you know that the creditor is not going to come after you if there's something in place. If somebody has written a letter saying that the debt collector is coming, the debt collector is going to be collecting on this debt because they assigned to it, and I then forked over all of the information to them. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, let's look, the elephant in the room. Forked over all the information to them. Now they stop coming after you. They ain't gonna do nothing until they validate that debt. And now if they're gonna be the true collector, in fact, now you got to verify something, bro. Now the verification coming in play. Verify who I am. Verify my contract. Verify my contract with you. Verify the contract that you have with that creditor. Not the contract, but the agreement that they're gonna be that you. But they're not gonna provide you that. They're not gonna provide all of that. They're not gonna do it. I ain't never seen them do it. And they ain't gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. Only thing that they're going to do is posture themselves and collect on your fear. You can't let them win. I don't condone getting all irate over the phone with these people, because that's what they want. When you're emotional, right? When you're emotional, you can't think. Being angry. If you're angry while you're driving, you might as well be drunk. You see what I'm saying? If you're upset, crying, and you're driving, you might as well be drunk. You might as well be. But this is what they do. This is their job. That's their psychology. Their psychology is to get you revved up. So, but see, for me, if they call me, I'm going to get them revved up. Because I'm going to have to make them do work. And then they're not going to mess with me no more. I had a relative, right? My relative called me and told me that they had this bill. Somebody ran up a bag on them. Man, I think it was about $6,000. I'm not for sure. I can't remember. I think it was about $6,000. They ran like a $6,000 bag on them. And they gave me a call. I said, yo, alright. I said, yo, before you go to work. I said, yo, because they work at nighttime. I said, yo, just come through and bring me the paperwork. So boom, boom, they came through, whatever, brought paperwork to me. I looked at it. Excuse me. And they was like, yo, I saw the paperwork, right? Yeah, I do remember it was a $6,000 bag. It was close to $7,000. And it was like 6'8" something, you know what I'm saying? And they ran a bag on them. And I was like, and then the bag was like, it was back in like, I want to say 2006. Yeah, it's like at that time it was 2022, 23, something like that. But they ran up a bag on them. I mean, yo, it was crazy. So I'm like, so they sent them. They sent them a letter in the mail telling them that they owed this money and that they were from somewhere from, I think, in Pennsylvania. Now, mind you, this person lived here in Mississippi, right? Okay, so was you sending me something for Pennsylvania? I never lived out there. And then it's from 2006. So what I did was I got on the phone, not the phone, but excuse me. I, I, what I did, I got their address and everything, and I wrote them a letter. A lot of times, all it takes is a letter. Sometimes you don't even have to do an administrative process on these people. You don't. A lot of times you don't have to do an administrative process. You do administrative process on them when going to court, or you're trying to build a case on them. Like when you get ready to go to court, if you're going to take them to court and you're trying to build a case, that's when you build it. If they don't answer it, now we're going to court because you're trying to stay out of court. That's why you're writing a letter to them. So I wrote a letter to them, but in this case, I didn't have to do an administrative process. What I did was I just wrote them a letter and told them they had to validate the debt. Do you know I ain't never heard from them ever again? And they never bothered that individual no more. Because the statutory limitations on collecting on a debt in the state of Mississippi is 3 years. Here it is, 2006 to 2023. Come on, bro. Don't play on my intelligence. What do you think, I'm a sucker? What do you think, I'm just gonna fork over six close to $7,000 to you, debt collector? We're not that damn stupid. We're not that damn stupid. So, but like I said, certain instances, you don't have to do it in an administrative process, especially something like that. Debt collector reached out to me, I'm like, what's this? I'm like, was never even in that state. You never reside in that state. You never did no business in that state. You never even been to this state. So what we talking about here? Why is they sending me letters? Because somebody got that individual's information and they ran up a bag. They ran up a bag. It's crazy. And that's what they'll do. People will do that to you. Protect your identity. Please protect your identity. That's why you gotta protect your identity at all costs. Protect your identity. I'm not gonna recommend nobody, but you can look it up yourself, and you can get some of these identity protection agencies to help you out, maybe. But a lot of stuff that can be done, you can do it yourself. Watch how you give out your information. Watch how you give out your information. Your social security numbers and your That's why I don't. That's why I don't give out my emails and stuff like that. It's not attached to your social security, but it's still, you get spoofed. Somebody sends some crap randomly in your email, and you respond to it, not knowing, because you're dealing with so much in your life, and something might pop up on that email that you deal with. Case in point, I'm gonna just use this for example. Let's say, for example, you give out your email. You always giving out your email, whatever, boom, boom. And and let's say you own an iPhone, and you got data on your iPhone, clouds, and all that kind of jazz. You got all this stuff on all these features on your phone. Then somebody send you a spam email saying, John Doe, your data is finna be deleted. Please contact us, or your cloud services is fixing to be it's fixing to be expired. And that your cloud services is straight, but you panic because you never seen that before, and you really think that is pertaining to you because they got your whole name on there. That's called phishing. They phishing. So those are examples of what I'm saying about giving out your email all the time. And then here you caught up in some jazz. You're caught up in some jazz. And it's like, that's, what I'm saying? So, because you're trying to, do a survey, or, you're trying to do something legitimate, rather, what I'm saying? For that matter. You're trying to do something legitimate, and these people target you. Because you got to remember, they sell your information. Your information gets sold all across the internet. Your information does get sold. So please protect yourself. Well, that's it for me. Do me a favor. Show a brother some love. Smash the like button. Smash it. And subscribe. So you can click that notification bell whenever I go on. You know what I'm saying? And we can, in that way, because I'm definitely going to bang out some more material. Because it's very important that we, as consumers, understand what our rights are and what the rights of the debt collector is. They don't have no rights. I am Foresight.